This video is going to be about solving quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. So what if you get into a situation where you can't factor something? We can use the quadratic formula. We could also use it when we're factoring things, but it's best for we get into a situation, can't factor it, how do we solve it? So a quadratic equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c can be solved with the quadratic formula, which is x equals negative b plus or minus, I'm going to write this all out, b squared minus 4ac, the square root of that, all over 2a. So to use this formula, we're first going to define the values of a, b, and c. Then we are going to substitute the values for a, b, and c into the quadratic formula. Then we simplify using order of operations. So to simplify it using order of operations, we're first going to simplify everything under the square root symbol. We are then going to take the square root. If we are getting something that doesn't come out to a nice number, we want it to be in 4 decimal places, or if possible, a fraction. Often you will not be able to write it in a fraction though, and that's why we're using the quadratic formula. Finally, you're going to split it into 2 sets of fractions and simplify. So we're going to look at a couple of examples of this. And we have the example at the top here, and then it goes through all of the steps, and we're going to do the steps in this column here. So first thing, we need to define A, B, and C. And let's do A, B, C. So C is 1, B is 4, A is 3. So now we're going to substitute those into the quadratic formula. So I'm going to write it out and then we'll substitute in. So x equals negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4 ac all over 2a. Okay, our a's we're going to put in orange. So we're going to place our A here, with 3, and our A here. Also with 3. Our B's we're going to replace with 4. And our only C we will replace with 1. Okay, we've substituted in. Now we're going to simplify everything under the square root symbol. So everything else is going to travel down. So As I am traveling things, I'm going to get rid of as many of these parentheses as possible. So I can drop the parentheses around the 4. And I'll simplify that bottom 2. 2 times 3 is 6. I'm going to do this simplifying in 2 steps. So the first step is 4 squared is 16. And then 4 times 3 times 1, 4 times 3 is 12, times 1 is 12. Next step, I'm going to go ahead and simplify that. So I get negative 4 plus or minus 16 minus 12 is 4 all over 6. Okay, so that has simplified our square root. Now we're going to take the square root to 4 decimal places if necessary. So negative 4 plus or minus. All right, so if you're not great with square roots, again, we can go do square root of 4 is 2. And then split into 2 different fractions. One is the plus fraction. The other is the minus fraction. So negative 4 plus 2 gives me negative 2. Negative 2 over 6. Again, if you're not great with fractions, negative 2 over 6, so that's negative 1/3. And then negative 4 minus 2 is negative 6 over 6 is negative 1. So finally, my x, I have 2 solutions on this one. It's 1/3 and negative 1. So let's look at what changed in each step. I went from this to simplifying this. I then simplified this here. Then simplified this here. And finally, this split into our 2 pieces here. So that's what's changing in each step. I guess also I can say that we simplified this and this here. All right, so let's look at another example. Now on this one, you might look at it and say, uh-oh, there's no C term. And that's correct. There is not a C term right now, so we always have to solve for 0. We have to get it equal to 0 first before we can do anything else, just like every other quadratic. So I'm going to do 4x squared minus 6x equals 9. I want to move that 9 to the other side to make this equal to 0. So I'm going to get 4x squared minus 6x minus 9 equals 0. Then I can go ahead and identify my A, B, and C like I did up there. So I'm going to use orange, red, and green again. So A is 4. B is negative 6. C is negative 9. Again, I'm going to write out my quadratic formula completely and substitute those values in. So we've got x equals negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, let's start replacing things. So my a's are 4. My b's are negative 6. And my only c is negative 9. All right, let's start simplifying things. So just like in the first one, I'm going to simplify some parentheses first as I'm simplifying my square root. So negative 6 would give me positive 6 plus or minus negative 6 squared. So when I plug this into the calculator, I want to make sure that I put parentheses around that negative 6 because otherwise the calculator is not going to do it right. So that's 36 minus, and we'll just go straight to our calculator, 4 negative 9. So negative 144. And 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, let's go ahead and simplify what's in the square root symbol now. So 6 plus or minus 36 minus negative 144. So 36 minus negative 144 is 180. Okay, take the square root. So square root of 180. 13.416407865. We want these first 4 decimal places, so we're going to do 13.4164. So there. So this one came out to a really nice square root. This one is not coming out to a nice square root. All right, final step. We're going to simplify into our 2 fractions. I'm zooming in on this so that we can fit it. Okay, so 6 plus 13.4164 over 8. 6 minus 13.4164 over 8. All right, let's do some simplifying here. So 6 plus 13.4164, 19.4164. Over 8. All right, 19.4164 divided by 8. Okay, 19.4164 divided by 8. It's 2.42705. All right, 6 minus 13.4164 is negative 7.4164. Over 8 is negative 0.92705. Okay, so our two solutions here, x equals 2.42705 and negative 0.92705, which we can round, since I said always do 4 decimal places. We'll do 2.4271 and negative 0.9271. So those are two different situations for quadratic equations for solving using the quadratic formula. Again, we'll go back and see what we've changed at each step. So what changed from here to here? These blues changed. And that was just simplifying some fraction or some parentheses. Then this became this. Just trying to make sure I get my colors the same. This became this. This became this. And finally, this changed to this. So you can see the flow of how we're simplifying things. So those are two different examples of using the quadratic formula.